Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a profile on a pure Fire King deck. I wasn't intending on buying the core or anything, or playing it really competitively, but I ended up picking up the core fairly cheaply and figured I'd have a go at just like testing it, more so for my own kind of knowledge, but I do actually don't mind the play style. So I'll go into the list. As I said, it's going to be a fairly budget list, so no wanted engine or anything like that. This one's also very pure, so not really incorporating any other engines, though I think definitely there's some other variations I would like to test out. Specifically, I'm quite interested in the Tri-Brigade variant just because I do like the Tri-Brigades as well. But in terms of the Fire Kings, we're playing 2 of the Garunics, we're playing 3 of the Kieran, 3 of the Ponix, 3 of the Avata, and 1 Baron. All fairly standard lineups from what I have come to kind of understand. 2 Sanctuary is a world where you'd want 3, but then at the same time, it feels like there's a lot of Fire King Islands going around. If you have 3, but then like the Ponix can then either search the Skyburn or the Circle as well. So argument could be made to play the Sanctuary. The list is currently 40. I never mind going to 41. So potentially you could go to 41 for the 3rd copy of Sanctuary, just to kind of ensure you get that special summon on your opponent's turn, because as we're playing pure, interruption wise, we are a little bit limited in that the other engines can't, we're not playing any other engines to kind of get us there. We're then playing 3 Prosperity, 3 Small World, and 1 1-for-1. This is just all to help consistency. Certainly the Small World could be something else. But the way I've kind of built the list is, it's a fairly standard kind of list, except what usually you would see people play over the Small World would be something like a Dogmatica package. But in the reality, the Dogmatica package searches you a level 1, so it gives you access to the Ponix, which is all well and good. However, really, like, and especially in this pure build, like the deck loses to Ash on Fire King Island, generally. I mean, Ash on Fire King Island is so strong. So being able to Small World into Avata and just have more consistency to see Avata, I think is just super important, because the deck is really fragile with Ash on Fire King Island most of the time. So instead of playing something like Dogmatica, which it does get you the draw and it does get you access into the Ponix, I think I'd rather have consistency. And this can allow you to see any monster in the deck, or any of the Fire Kings for the very least. You bridge through Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom will get you access into any Fire King monster, and it also allows you to bridge any hand trap. Any hand trap through Ash can become any Fire King monster. So speaking of the non-engine, the other thing you could do certainly is, 3 Small World might be excessive, especially with like the 1-for-1 as well. So you could cut one of these for the 3rd Sanctuary, potentially. There's just another option that you could play. Then for the non-engine, I'm on 15 other non-engine cards, but we're going more for a hand trap route because the Small World just helps us with consistency. But we've got Ash, we've got Veiler, we've got Droll. Then I'm on Super Poly. Super Poly seems to be just insane. And 3 Impermanence as well. Impermanence, again, if you really wanted to lean into the Small World, Impermanence could be the Ghost Mourner. No, that's not the one. The other one, the other Ghost Girl that's like effect negation. But, I've kind of gone for Imperm, because obviously Imperm is just a crazy card. But that is 40 cards, so 15 non-engine, whole stack engine. It's very consistent. It's just kind of playing in the playstyle of the Fire Kings. Then for the extra deck, I'm playing 2 Garunics. I know most people are just playing 1. 1's probably fine, but when you're not playing any other engines, you generally have a lot of flexibility. I'm playing 1 Dingisu and 1 Typhon. Then I'm playing Super Poly targets, so Gearfried, Garura, and Mud Dragon. And then for links, we're on Goddess, Blackluster Soldier. This is kind of funny. It comes up. It's pretty strong. Decode Talker, Heat Soul. You can make it as a fire. IP, SP. These are fine. This is a Sunlight Wolf, which I sold my Salad Core and I thought I still had rares available, but I don't. So I don't have Sunlight Wolf, I need to acquire one. And then Heater, Link, Karibo as my last 2 cards in the extra deck. There's certainly other things you could play. I mean, we're obviously on the Charmers, so you could well and truly play Celine into access code potentially, but I mean, you're not really link summoning all that much. The extra deck is very flexible, it's very free. You could play more Super Poly targets. You could play Zeus if you really wanted to. I mean, like I said, they've got the Xyz monsters. Yeah, there's a lot of other things you could potentially play in here. I've got a side deck that I've just been kind of running with at the moment. It's Nibiru for more hand traps, because again, we're kind of leaning pretty heavily into the hand traps here. So it's Nibiru, Phantasme, 2 Banker Drops just because it's at 2 and I like the card. And then a whole heap of spell trap removal, which is Cosmics, Lightning, and Evenly. Third Cosmic could be like a Harpy's Feather Duster, potentially, but and I know Cosmic isn't seeing a lot of play, but I really rate Cosmic on, I mean, like, there's a lot of decks that are playing these kind of like big continuous spells. I mean, like, obviously Fire King's playing Island and Sanctuary. Then you've got things like the Horus Engine, you've got things like Brand of Regained, like, you know, with Orcus being around, so Orcus Babel potentially seeing some play, you know, people testing Orcus, especially like at locals. So I don't know, Cosmic Cyclone's kind of nice. I really like the card, so I'm kind of playing it. But that is the deck, main deck, extra deck, side deck. I'll do some test hands, but I think, you know, there's so much Fire King content around that certainly you've seen these types of combos before, or test hands before, but I'll do some anyway. All right, for our first test hand, we have Kieran, Prosperity, Avatar, Ponix, Imperm, and why am I drawing 6 cards? Never mind. Okay, 5 cards. There we go. Kieran, Prosperity, Avatar, Ponix, and Impermanence. So obviously we've got the combo with Ponix to go. We can kind of go full combo here with Ponix, assuming, you know, our opponent's not going to Ash the Fire King Island. But what we'll do here is we'll go for Prosperity first. The 6 that we can kind of like banish would be something like this. And then reveal 6. Now we would really like to see Sanctuary, because then we will become a lot more resilient to hand traps there, or 1 for 1 actually is going to do the same thing. So we can grab 1 for 1 is fine, because now we can normal summon Avatar. We can use the 1 for 1. We're happy to pitch a Ponix, is fine. To summon out another Ponix, and then we're going to get the Ponix effect to grab Sanctuary. And the Sanctuary, of course, is going to place the islands. Now, this is obviously the big draw to the Wanted engine, the Sinful Spoils, is that, you know, you can very often special summon the Ponix from the deck directly, meaning your normal summon can nearly all of the time be Avatar. But, you know, playing budget like this, obviously you don't have that luxury, and that's what the price tag is really getting you there. But, and obviously the consistency, but the Sanctuary stays on the field. And now we can go Island and we can destroy Ponix. I mean, we've already got the Kieran in hand, which is great. So we'll search for the Garunix. The Garunix will summon. The Garunix can now pop from deck. And we can still pop the Barong, and just to kind of generate a little bit more follow-up on the next turn. And we could very easily just pass the turn there. Obviously we can set the Impermanence. We already have the Kieran to do its thing as well, so we've got the play set up with Sanctuary. There was a world where you could, instead of popping Barong here, we could pop something like, because we've already got Kieran, hypothetical world where instead of popping Barong, we pop something like Avatar, summon out the one that was not popped, because we still want to use the, so let's say we popped Avatar instead. What we could do is obviously get out the Ponix, and then we could just take these 2 and link them off into SP Little Knight. We still have the play going. Means the Garunix is in the graveyard. It's going to come back. It's still going to pop a card on the next turn then from the deck as well. So in our opponent's standby phase, we would get the Ponix that was popped back to the hand. And this would be great, because now we can obviously use the Kieran to pop the Ponix to summon. We're protected by the Avatar. The Garunix can come out. He can pop another thing. This is where we could pop the Barong. just kind of go from there. Once the SP tags out and is kind of safe, the Sanctuary could do its thing to go for Garunix. Obviously, it's going to pop something like the Arvata as well. The Arvata can trigger if we need it to. I mean, in this case, we don't really need it to because the Barong's already been popped, the Bonix has already been popped. We don't need the Arvata to bring back a body, but we can kind of go from there. And then, because we've had things popped, they're going to recur themselves as well. So that's what I find this deck really fascinating. It reminds me a lot of kind of like Chimera in a way. It's got like a fairly resource loop centered playstyle. But yeah, we'll get on to test hand number 2. Okay, for test hand number 2. We have Sanctuary, Ash, Ponix, and Arvata. Okay, so this is going to be fairly similar to the first one. Obviously, we can fire off the Sanctuary to get the island. Could have even normal summoned the Arvata first just to kind of insulate against anything. We can use the island. We're pretty safe from Ash, obviously. We can have the Ponix get popped per the island, sorry. Grab Garunix to summon, Garunix to pop from deck. We'll pop Barong, and this is a fairly standard kind of combo. And we're passing turn there. Again, similar to the first one, like I'd rather leave the Monster Negate up. That's pretty strong. But I mean, you could link these off for an SP Little Knight if you really wanted to, just to get more value out of the Garunix, but we don't need to, so we could just leave it there. The Barong, of course, is going to add us the Kieran, and the Ponix is going to add itself back in. This is all back in the opponent's standby phase to add back, and we're playing the game from there. So we've got that loop going. We've got the rank 8 on the opponent's turn as well to board wipe. It's a shame we're able to trigger the Ponix in that instant, but it is what it is, and we'll go into one last test hand. All right, for test hand number 3, we have Arvata, Kieran, Imperm, Super Bolly, and Ash. So, of course, in an instance like this is going to be nothing because we have no way to play the game. So that is unfortunate. It would be a set Super Poly and Imperm and move on from there. And we'll do one last one because that one didn't really do anything. I mean, we've already kind of shown off a lot of what the deck real kind of aimed to do. We've got Garunix, we've got Ash, Droll, Arvata, Ash, same as the one just before. It's going to be nothing. I mean, we do have plays. I mean, this is going to be a normal summon Arvata and pass, and then once we use the Monster Negate, we could pop an Ash. Garunix would then summon, but I would say probably by 2023 standards, there's not really anything we can pop with the Garunix at that point that's going to. I mean, we're still probably going to lose the game. We've got an Ash, we've got a Droll, so maybe, but the Garunix there would get us into the game on the following turn if we were to survive, but probably not that hopeful. We've got Skyburn, we have Veiler, Small World, Ash, and Ash. Okay, so this will be a good hand to kind of just, I guess, show off Small World. In this specific example, because we have no access to Engine, and we've got 2 Ash Blossoms, we're not going to be using Ash as the kind of bridge, but we're going to use it to start us off because we'd rather keep the Veiler and the Ash. So we're going to reveal Ash Blossom. We're then going to reveal Effect Veiler because of the attack stats, and we can add Ponix as a level 1. Now obviously this combo is going to be, it's the very basic 1-card combo. It's going to get very easily interrupted by our opponent, but we would be normal summoning the Ponix. We would be grabbing the Sanctuary. That would be getting us to the island. And this is just if you haven't seen this already, this is the very basic 1-card combo. Island effect is going to pop Ponix. We search Garunix, which can then summon itself per its effect. and it would pop the Barong from deck. And we can set the Skyburn and call it a day with that one, because then in the standby phase, the Ponix will add itself back and the Barong will search us the Kieran. So we have the rank 8 set up on our opponent's turn, so to board white. We have the Skyburn. Skyburn's kind of a really cool card to kind of get access to. So, you know, it's really nice to have just kind of drawn in this case, because obviously it's another free interruption. But, you know, if we were to kind of play things out a little bit here, you know, Kieran to pop Ponix and summon as an example. You know, these were to be overlaid into a Garunix at any point. Obviously that's going to board wipe our opponent. We've got the Ash and the Veiler at any point as well. But then Skyburn, you know, hypothetically could pop Garunix. It will destroy another card our opponent controls. And then the Garunix, because it had 2 materials, can summon back 2 monsters. Now our Ponix was already popped, but we could summon back the Ponix to get a search. And, you know, we could summon back a Barong, for example, because we've still got other ways to kind of extend. We could summon out a Garunix to pop one from deck as well. That could pop something like an Arvata, which could summon back Barong. Obviously the Ponix can search as well. And we can kind of consolidate our resources on our opponent's turn there as well with the interruptions that we had. But otherwise, that's going to be it for this video, Pure Vikings. I know obviously the deck came out a little while ago, so again, probably already seen a lot of the kind of content around the Fire Kings, but like I said, I picked up the core just because I wanted to kind of just see what the deck was about. It was fairly inexpensive and just wanted to kind of learn for myself what the cards were capable of. And yeah, I actually really enjoy it. Not to the point where I'm going to go and splash out for a wanted engine, but it's definitely an enjoyable kind of play style as well if you kind of like this resource loop type of control deck as well. But that's going to be it for this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.